What it do? What it do? Big Blue, we are back. And it has felt like years. You thought I was going to come
Yeah,
with like a gray beard, like Father Time way down here. Nope. I'm still looking good, boys. Still looking good. What
love it,
you been up
love it.
to there, K Money? It's been a minute.
It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah, down with the sickness.
Down with the sickness for sure, for sure. That was no joke, man. These sinuses and flu, cold, whatever it was, man, it hit hard. It hit hard, and
It's
I haven't been
rough.
sick like that in a couple of years. It was like the sinus headaches, man. I couldn't see. Like I had to
Yeah,
close
them
my eyes. I just
headaches.
couldn't see. Couldn't see, man. And it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. I will say I didn't miss much from a Kentucky basketball standpoint, so it was probably good that my eyes were closed and I slept half the time. Jesus, you
Yeah.
know,
I mean, I didn't even
just
go live Tuesday. And I
yeah.
said I was. It's bad.
It's. I mean, luckily we got a win. Luckily
Luckily.
we ended the losing streak, but holy hell, man, it didn't look good. It did not look good at all.
No.
So
I
you
don't know
know,
what happened. It was like a literal switch after Auburn, or not after Auburn, at Auburn from that point on. I mean, it looks like a completely different shitty team, like the beginning of the year. It is not the same team that went on that winning streak at all.
no, no, it's like their confidence got like taken away, and
Yeah.
I don't quite understand how. They're still the same team, like they're still the same
Yeah.
quality guys, and it's just Moreno's playing like a freshman. He's coming into his own now, where he's playing like an absolute freshman. Yelovich playing like a freshman. Like these guys are playing like really, really young guys right now, and it's crunch time in the season, and we can't
Yeah.
can't have it, you know?
It's like the Monstars came with the basketball and took all their
Dude,
talent over the break. I mean,
it's
really.
it really is. It's they're turning the ball over like a high school team.
Yes.
Every 2 seconds, they're just, "Here, you take it." Like, they're pretty much giving it to the other team, and that's what's killing them. That's what killed them against Auburn. That's what almost killed them on Tuesday, and if they don't clean that shit up, that's what's gonna kill them against Vandy.
Well,
Vandy's gonna
Vandy
take
will eat
advantage
us
of that.
up.
My
Oh, my
god.
God.
The way they're playing right now, forget about it, man. The way they're shooting threes and everything else,
Oh God, Vandy ain't even practicing this week, dude. If they,
probably
you know
not.
what I'm saying? Like the game tape from the last two games, they're like, shit. Can we take a couple days off? I
Yep.
mean, really gotta practice.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
I mean, you have that, and then you have whatchamacallit, what's his name? Duke Miles is his name or something like that. The dude that's coming back for Vandy. Is that his name? I think that's his name. Miles Duke or Duke Miles, something like that.
I
Um,
think so. I think
he's
so.
he's coming back. He didn't play in the first game, and they beat us by 30. So
God.
we got that to look forward to. But look, I mean, if they can come out and establish some intensity and play like how they can play and kind of respect the home court. I mean, Kentucky's trying to do something. They're doing the blue and white out. I don't know if you saw that. So like half the
Yeah, I
arena is
saw
going to be
that today.
blue, half's going to be white. So I think that's going to look awesome. But is it, as like we talked about before, is it a bunch of 65-year-olds in a white T-shirt? I mean, are they going to be loud
Exactly.
and cheer? Like there's a
Exactly.
difference there. So
And will these 60-year-olds even participate? That's another thing you got to think of. Are these people in the, you know, I know everybody up top's going to participate, but
hmm
is everybody down low going to participate? That's what's going to suck. And I get what they're doing, trying to bring some fire into Rupp Arena because we're going to need it. We got to have it. We got to have the home court advantage,
yeah, yeah, they need
or we're
this game.
screwed. Yes, yes,
Because Texas A&M, the next game against Texas A&M on Tuesday, that's not a walk in the park either.
no,
And then you finish
no.
the season against Florida next Saturday. I mean, they got 3 games left, and for all intents and purposes, man, they can lose all three. If they lose all three, they're gonna have to win the SEC tournament to make the NCAA tournament.
You think so?
Yeah, yeah,
I,
absolutely.
I know I heard Matt Jones talking, and he was saying he thinks that they solidified their spot with the win against South Carolina. But when
Yeah,
I
I
heard
saw
that, I
that.
was like, I don't know, because what if we do come out and lose all three of these games? That's not going to look good.
No,
That's not gonna look good for us.
No, and look, you win all 3 of these games, you get the double bye in the SEC tournament, right?
Yep.
That's what it'll end up being. You'll get the double bye because you'll end up having 12 wins in the SEC, which will get you the double bye. You win 2, you'll at least get 1 bye. You lose 2, you're playing that first weekend or that first game, and then you lose all 3, you're getting a horrible seed and probably a rough one.
God.
And you're gonna have to pull a rabbit out of your hat to make a run, and I think what's gonna happen, I think I heard Matt Jones too, and I think right now, if that win solidified them, I think they're probably a 7 seed, right? That's probably where they are,
Yeah.
7, maybe an 8, but 7 or an 8, that's probably where they're at. If they lose 3 straight, they're probably bouncing back to, like, that 10 seed.
Well, yeah. Yeah. And honestly, if we lose the next 3, I would hate to see who we have to play that first game in the SEC tournament, and then I would hate
Mhm.
to see us play in the SEC tournament,
Yeah.
honestly. I
Yeah.
mean, I and usually, you hear at this point, "Oh, I can't wait," at least on Facebook, and "Can't wait to be in Nashville for the SEC, can't wait to." I don't see any of that. I don't see none of that, which is
No.
horrible. Again, horrible.
But, I mean, it's par for the course. Look, and you know, I commented on Austin's post, him and Kyle's post about you know, just the name on the front. Like a lot of these young players don't care about the name on the front and the lore of Kentucky. Well, you and I talked about this. Like, this isn't the same Kentucky. But like historic Kentucky is historic Kentucky. They're not worried
Yep.
about that. The last 12 to 15 years, this university's been mediocre at best. So I said it like you take from 2015 after that season, that was demoralizing, right? So they haven't done anything since, right? So you go 38-0 and lose in the Final Four. You don't win the national championship that year. The year before, you lost in the national championship to UConn, which it was a UConn team that you should have beat. Let's be
Yes.
honest. Like, I'm not saying
Absolutely.
UConn didn't deserve it because they beat us in that game, but we should have beat them. Kentucky was the better team at that night, and kudos to hats off to UConn because they earned it, right? But then you had 2013, the title in 2012. So like you had a stretch of like 5 to 7 years where all right, Kentucky's back. Then it went on a stretch of 7 years where Cal couldn't get out of the first round or second round, right?
Yeah.
And now, like here we are, and I saw a lot of people questioning Pope, like and I know our boys at BBN Unfiltered question it too, like, and I want to throw it to you if Pope wasn't on the '96 national championship team, would he be the coach right now? He wouldn't be the coach of Kentucky.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
He didn't have any qualifications to justify bringing him in besides being a former player and having the pedigree of being the captain on that '96 team. That's it. He didn't have any other qualifications. He didn't have a NCAA tournament win at BYU. He had in his BYU years, he was like 22-10. So like it's not like he went 28-3 and made the tournament. You know what I mean? So like he didn't even win in the tournament before he came to Kentucky. So, you
Yeah, he
know,
wasn't he wasn't a stud at BYU, you know what I mean? It wasn't like
no.
it was, "Oh my god, we got." And I keep saying it, I keep saying it. I know I wasn't happy about the hire, you know what I mean? I wasn't happy, and we've said it on here again before. He got us with the heartstrings, and that's why we liked him and pulled for him, but now it's
Mhm.
like, man, dude, is it really a reality now where it was a horrible hire? You know what I mean? And again, no recruits. No
Yeah.
recruits. No
Yeah.
recruits. I'm still on that because I mean, that's just crazy that we have no recruits still.
Well, and here's the thing, and it. I know we have no recruits, and I'm just flabbergasted at the fact that we don't even have like a 3-star recruit at this point. You know what I mean? But at the
I'll
same
take a one
time,
star.
right, get somebody. But at the
Yeah.
same time, like the way college sports are, and the way college basketball and college football have been, this transfer portal is pretty much your pride and joy. Like that's where you're recruiting out of anyway, right? So Maybe he's just thinking about that, but, like, I think the bottom line of this whole thing is Mitch, right? And Mitch and so you put it in perspective like this, we're paying college athletes now, so you're basically a professional team. You think of any professional sports team, what do they have in common? They have a general manager. We don't
Yep.
have a general manager. We have an
Nope.
athletic director that doesn't act as if he's a general manager. So then the coach has to go out there and act like a general manager and try to put a team together. You can't do that. Pope's not that guy. You know what I
No,
mean? So you
not
need
at
to
all.
have a general manager in that role to put together that team to facilitate organization for Pope so he can coach them. He can't do everything because he's trying to coach this team to an NCAA tournament right now, and that's why he has no recruits because he can't do both at the same time. It's just not feasible anymore.
No. And I think I heard a rumor, right? That I guess we're looking for a GM or we're in the mix of getting a GM or something like
There's
that.
been
I don't know, but it
talks.
needs to happen. It needs to
Yep.
happen quick.
Yeah, there's been
Does
talks for
does
sure.
Mitch let it happen?
I mean, he got to let go of his ego. The only good thing is the fact that we're only tied to Mitch for 2 more years. 28, his contract's up.
And I think we part ways after that. I
I
really
think you have
do.
no choice. You have no
You have
choice
no
but to part
choice.
ways. But the damage is already done since he signed a deal with JMI. You know what I mean? But like, I'm gonna give you a hot take right now, and this is where I want to go with it. I think at the end of the day, if they're gonna get rid of Pope, fine. You know what I mean? Like, I like Pope as a guy, like as a man. He seems like he's a great father, all that stuff. He was a great player for us in '96. You know, if you're gonna make Pope the scapegoat, that's fine. Then you got to make a big splash and bring in somebody like Jay Wright. I don't care what it takes. You bring Jay Wright into Kentucky. That's what you need. That's what you need. You need a guy. You need a guy on the sideline wearing a suit. That's what you need at Kentucky. You need a suit wearing guy that commands the respect. You need a
Yep.
respect driven guy. Cal was that guy. Patino was that guy. Hell, even Tubby was that guy. They all commanded.
Proven at this
Yes,
point. We need
yes,
proven something.
that's
I
it.
don't because the ship has sailed of getting somebody young and possibly talented. Because, like you just said, you made Pope the scapegoat with that. So now you have to have somebody that is proven. You can't rely on this guy's probably going to be really hot in a couple years because you just threw that out the window with Pope. So now you have to have somebody hot. You ruined you took your chance on Pope. And if you get rid of him, obviously he wasn't that guy. So now, like you said, you have to bring in the suit wearing proven guy.
Yep, yep. And that's where I'm at with it. I mean, look, I'm not ready to give up on Pope
No,
completely yet because it's only been this is his second season, right? So like when Cal's the guy that came in and just lit it on fire because he was recruiting like crazy. When he came in from Memphis, right? But like Patino's first 2 years, Patino was on the cusp of getting fired, right? When Coach K was at Duke, Coach K was on the verge of getting fired after his first 2 seasons. So like if we jump the gun, I'm not putting Coach Pope in those same conversations
yeah,
as those guys. I don't want
absolutely.
to I don't want to get it misconstrued. I'm just saying if we were to give up on him right after 2 seasons. Look, I think why everybody is willing to give up on him so quick is because we're frustrated. We're impatient because we haven't had a winner in so long. That's why, and that's not Kentucky basketball. Kentucky basketball, we've always consistently been in the tournament. You can count on one hand the amount of times we weren't in the Sweet 16 in like a span of 20 years. We made the Sweet 16 every year; it was guaranteed, and then it was a crapshoot after that, right? Like that's what we knew was Kentucky basketball. Now we don't even know if we're making the tournament. Like that's not where we're at. That's not where we're at. Nobody's happy with that. So that's why we're ready to make Coach Pope the scapegoat in this and move on and get somebody in there. But who are you going to get? Who are you going to
That's
get?
what I was about to say. Who are you going to get? Because you got to look, Florida's coach, he's tied up. He ain't leaving Florida. You ain't getting Hurley from UConn. He ain't
No,
leaving.
nope.
Now that these coaches won't leave like they used to because you are going to have to throw them. I mean, good Lord. You'd have to sign over the Fort Knox Gold, the where we house the gold in Kentucky. You'd have to get a coach like that from another team at this point. They're not leaving the schools that they're at. So,
No.
like you said, though, you have to get like a Jay Wright. You'd have to get a free agent coach, and there's not a lot of good free agent coach. Bruce Pearl, yes,
I take Jay Wright or Bruce Pearl. That's those are the 2 guys that you need that, like, look, they're not gonna give a shit about relating to the younger guys because 'cause they'll have guys on their staff that can do that. They're there to win basketball games, and if you wanna learn how to win before you get to the NBA, that's who you wanna play for. It's plain and simple, because University of Kentucky has deep pockets. You're gonna get your money. That's not a problem. You know what I mean? Now it's a matter of everything else, and then they will hold you accountable. So if you're not gonna fulfill those duties, fine, we'll fine you. And that's where it needs to get. Like, we'll continue to talk about this every single week until something changes. I'm gonna feel like a broken record, but until there is some type of guidelines or rules where NIL deals are incentive based and there's contractual agreements within those agreements of the NIL deals, nothing's ever going to change, because look at the NFL, look at the NBA, they have obligations within their contract that state that they have to do X amount of things. College, we don't know what they have because it's not public knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing out there that says anything. So the way I see it, they need to put in the incentive-based guidelines in these NIL deals. Yeah, your NIL
yes,
deal is worth $3 million, but it's
if,
contingent upon you playing this many games, and then you get an X amount of bonus if you score this many points. You get an X amount of bonus if we win the SEC regular season title. You get an X, like what quarterbacks do, right? You make the Pro Bowl, you get this. You win the Super Bowl, you make the NFC Championship game, whatever it is, you get more money. Well, that's an incentive for these players to not only play throughout the season, but play hard, because the better you play, the more money you get,
yep.
right?
I mean, look at
Instead of
Jake.
just exactly. That was exactly where
He
my mind
robbed
was going.
us. He
Yep.
robbed us. And I
Yep.
saw the stat the other day. It came out to like, what was it like? It was like thousands of dollars a second
Yeah.
from the games that he played uh, until he quit playing. You got paid thousands of dollars a second. That's ridiculous. No, no player is worth that unless Anthony Davis or John Wall come back from the NBA and played. And even at that point, not worth. I mean, that's insane, and it's insane that we're allowing that. And like you said, until some guideline or rule happens, it's he just written the book for the next one that has a little bit of an injury. He just wrote the book on how to get paid and not play and make it to
He's
the NBA.
It's the same dude. It's the same as Peterson from Kansas. Peterson
Oh
from
my God,
Kansas is
yes.
probably the number one overall pick in the draft, and he's getting paid what, like $4 million from Kansas or something like that.
Yep.
And like, that
He
is
can just sub in and out when he wants.
just tapping his hat and like, I'm just walking off the court. Like, what
Yeah.
what do we do? And Bill Self's like, okay, it is what it is. Like, and
Yes.
look, at the end of the day, that's why Tyron Stokes doesn't have a NIL deal right yet with Kansas, because I don't think it's Stokes. I think Kansas is second guessing it, going, well, shit, we just did this with Peterson and he burned us basically. He's his character's all over the place now. Kentucky is not Stokes's favorite. Like, he doesn't. It's not his priority. It's not his preferred place. But he said that he's keeping it on the table if things break down with Kansas. That's basically what he said. He was like, "Look, you're my backup plan." That's more or less what he said. If things don't work out with Kansas. Now, I'm
Oh my
sitting
God.
here. I know we're desperate to have a recruit, and I know we would love to have Stokes, but at the same time, like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I really want him there now.
I don't want to be a side chick.
Right, that's exactly what I'm feeling like.
I don't want to be the side chick. I didn't know he said that. I did not know he said that. I did that. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. And
his
why
his
would you
exact
come out and say that?
his exact verbiage was Kentucky, from his agent or from his camp, was like, it is not his preferred destination. His preferred destination is still Kansas. However, and what the article led on to say was, if things don't work out with Kansas and they can't come to an agreement, he's all in on Kentucky. I'm like, well, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna
That's
ask this girl out, but if she says no, I got these other 2 just waiting on standby that I'm gonna pick from. Like, you can't do that. That's trashy.
and That is what college basketball has allowed these kids to become.
Yep.
Right
Yep.
there. That is
Yep.
ridiculous. That is ridiculous. My God.
Yeah.
What? I mean,
Yeah.
you got my reaction live, right? I don't even, I'm lost. I don't even know what to say. Wow. Like, wow. That is a disgrace. Not only is it a disgrace if we keep pursuing, but that is a disgrace to the sport. To be able for the top guy to come out and be like, yeah, well, I do like his place, but if they don't pay me the money I want, shit, I'm all in on that one. Hell
Yep.
with it.
Yep.
Like,
Well,
wow.
and here's the thing, right? So let's say things do fall
Ugh.
apart with Kansas and Kentucky scrambles because they're like, we don't have a recruit. This will be a big splash. This will be and Pope's like, this is a way to keep my job, all this fun stuff, right? Well, what does that mean for building a team around him? How are those other players gonna look at him and be like, well, wait a minute, you didn't even want to come here. You just came here for the money. Like, so your whole recruiting process, you can't go after him at that point. You just have to let that go. And then if he doesn't go to Kansas, let him go somewhere else. At this point, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think there's going to be plenty of people within the transfer portal looking at potential players and potential fits for Kentucky. Like I saw a lot of like freshmen, a lot of things like that. So I'm anxious to see how they can pull those triggers in the transfer portal. But the problem is you need to have a GM that can be out there scouting that now. There should
Yep.
be somebody in place that could have scouted it all season, and to have a list of 250 players, and then as soon as they hit the transfer portal, green light, green light, green
Boom,
light,
boom,
talk to
boom.
them, talk
Yep.
exactly, right? But like now, you're going to be playing catch up.
And also, that GM could have been talking to these players on the team right now. Hey, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen at the end of the year, but what are your thoughts if we go this far? Are you coming back? What if we go this far? What if we go this far? Are you coming back? That way, if we do go that far, he's like, all right, well, we know that if we hit Sweet 16, he's into the NBA. So, all right, we're past that. Let's try to get a transfer portal to replace him. Now, you have no idea who's thinking about, and maybe Pope does. I doubt it, honestly. Maybe he knows who's staying, who's leaving, and I don't think you know until
Right.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, we
You don't know until the end.
the only thing we know for sure is Oweh's gone and Aberdeen's likely gone, right? So
Yeah,
there's 30 points, 31 points, 32 points a game that we're not going to have next year in those two. So you got to fill that spot up. And we know JQ is not going to be there. We don't know about Lowe. We're assuming Chandler will be back. We're assuming, some of these Noah will probably be back. I mean, we're
yeah.
assuming guys like that, but like is Jasper definitely going to come back? I mean, everything that I heard, his NIL deal was like a 2-year agreement. Now, he's not going to make it. He's not going to declare for the draft. So unless he hits the transfer portal, which I don't think he will, he'll probably be back, and then that might be a good thing. I don't know. I don't know, but like
But
if
then,
you,
what about Stokes? If Pope goes all in on this being the side chick, does Jasper look at it and go, "Hey, this was supposed to be my team"?
hmm
And you just went all in on a guy that pretty much said, "If I don't go here, I guess I'll take y'all sloppy seconds." And
yeah,
you gave him my team.
yeah, yep,
You know what I mean? Like I just
and
spent
more money than
all
me,
this year. Yeah, I just spent
right?
all this year building a brotherhood with everybody, gaining their trust, going through all this work. And you just handed the keys to this car to this dude. What
Nuts,
does
and
that Yeah, like what does that do to the locker room? God. Yeah, the GM has to get here and it should have been here yesterday. But
well,
speaking of the GM, do you have anybody in mind that you would say Kentucky goes 100% in? Because I know mine, and that's Tayshawn.
love to have Tayshaun Prince. I would love to have Tayshaun Prince. I mean, so I've been battling back and forth with Patty, right? So Patty and I had a conversation about I brought up Rip Hamilton and I said Rip Hamilton was the greatest NBA player to ever wear a mask, right? Hands
Yes.
down. Ever to wear a mask, and he was like, "Oh, well, Kyrie's 40 games that he wore a mask is better." I'm like,
God.
Rip played with a mask for 8 seasons, like, and was a three-time All-Star, won the NBA championship, was a leading
Yeah.
scorer on that team, and like that's why it triggered that for me when you brought up Tayshaun, because since Tayshaun was on that team with Rip and
Absolutely.
they want, you know what I mean? And like, I think he has the business acumen. He understands Kentucky, but he also understands sports. Like he
Yes.
understands college basketball. So I wouldn't mind that at all.
Ain't Patty right? If I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Patty say that LeBron is the GOAT?
Yes. Yes, he does.
Right. And now he's also saying that Kyrie is also the greatest person to ever wear a mask.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So to everybody out there watching, sorry, Patty, but I'm pretty sure your judgment's a little off. For one, to say LeBron is the GOAT and to say Kyrie is over Rip Hamilton. Come on, bro. Come on. And maybe you're doing it to get a rile out of my boy K Money here. I don't know.
Oh, he did.
But you
He did.
but you got
And
it.
I've been battling every morning. I'm like, this is your daily reminder that Rip Hamilton was the greatest NBA player to ever wear a mask. And then he'll say something else, and I'm like, hey, don't let this distract you from the fact that Rip Hamilton was the greatest NBA player to ever wear a mask.
Ever.
Also, shout out to Rip Hamilton. Today's his birthday. Shout out to Coatesville legend, Rip Hamilton. You know, happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday. I
Honestly, speaking of Rip, I would take somebody like that that's not even a graduate of Kentucky as a GM.
was thinking the same thing, man. Thinking the same
Like,
thing.
that just hit me like, I would take somebody like that. It doesn't have to be a Kentucky graduate. Yeah, that'd be great. It doesn't have to be.
Like you got to think outside the box, man. Like
Yes.
think about all these guys that are going back to be like GMs for college football. Like when
Luck.
Andrew Luck went back. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Like I understand he's a Stanford grad, but like you don't have to be a Kentucky grad to do it. But like,
No.
look, I honestly think that like somebody from Kentucky would care a lot more and hold this
Yes.
place to a higher standard, and like get guys that are right. And like, when you're building a professional team, you talk to the coach and say, what's your coaching strategy and what players do you need for that strategy? And then my job as a GM is to get you players that fit that strategy and fit that scheme. You know what I
Do
mean?
you
Like
think somebody like Patino leaves St. John's and if we're hiring for a GM comes back to be Pope's GM?
I'll tell you what, man, I would love that. I would love that. I still think he's a scumbag for going to Boston and leaving and then going to Loserville. But I would take him. Look, after the game they just had against UConn and make it. I don't know if you saw that game. They lost 72-40. They made two shots in the second half. That was it. They missed their last 27 shots from the field. They didn't score for the last. They didn't make a shot for the last 17 minutes of the game.
St. John's?
St. John.
I
Yep.
did not see that.
Yeah. Didn't make
Oh
a
my God.
shot from the field for the last 17 minutes.
Okay, I
That's
don't feel as
absurd.
bad. I
Yeah,
don't feel
that's
as bad
that
as our 12 minutes.
dude. 72-40. Like they made two shots from the field in the first 2 minutes and like
Wow.
50 seconds of the second half, and then they didn't make one shot from the field the rest of the game. Insane.
Is it because did you watch it? Was it because UConn's defense was that good or was St. John's just that horrible that day?
I mean, it was a little both, but I mean,
Really?
you're putting up so they 28 shots. They put up 28 or 29 shots total in the second half, and you only make
That's
two of them. So like the
wow.
defense can be good, but like you got to think you're
Wow.
gonna make at least four or five of them, but on accident usually, right? Like
Yeah, by luck.
right. And they didn't make shit. They didn't make
Wow.
shit. They just had a horrible shooting day.
Speaking of a horrible shooting day,
Yeah.
South Carolina, Auburn.
Mm.
Which one do you want to start? I guess we'll go with the one that happened first, and we'll go ahead and pick up on Auburn's shit show. Oh, we should have never been in the position to even talk about what we're about to talk about. We should have never been in that position, but we were.
We were.
Um, and the horrible, horrible, horrible. I stand by it 110%. Horrible call that the refs called on us on Chandler at the end to give Auburn the game, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. They gave Auburn the game. And those refs knew what they were doing. You don't
Mhm.
call that. You do not call that.
No,
You've been letting them do it all game.
I was gonna say that's a no call. Like you don't call it on either team on that one, even
No.
though like the Auburn player was grabbing Chandler's arm too. You don't call any foul. It's a no call. You were letting them play physical the entire game, entire game.
And now you wanna call?
And
Now
that,
you wanna
yeah.
call.
Having said that, how do you not box out and grab a rebound? Like
Oh
they
my
just stood
god.
there. They're standing there looking,
Garrison.
just
Get
standing
you
there
could
looking.
see Garrison in the bleep it out, Topher bleep it out. You could see Garrison in the free play, standing there on the left side of the camera. I called it as soon as I saw the replay. You see him standing there. Watch it bounce, come off, bounce, come off. And he does not move. Does not move. Does like what are you doing, Garrison? Are you
Hmm.
serious? And who puts Garrison in a game defying situation like that? You don't. You do not. He has not proved anything all year to be that guy to be able to go
No,
in a game like that.
no, I agree. I agree. I just so if you look at the plus minus numbers, and like I'm not a big plus minus guy. I'm more like I watch it. You know what I mean? Instead of
Yeah.
looking at the plus minus on the stat sheet, but like it is glaring that it it clearly because like you and I have watched basketball with this team for a long time, and like if it shows their plus minus doesn't look good, but like visually we saw like all right, he made great shots throughout the game that kind of like swung things. It makes up for it, right? But like
Yeah.
everybody that we've said so far is like shit the bed. Their plus minus on the season is horrible.
Of
Mo,
course.
Diabate, horrible. Garrison, horrendous, like the worst ever, ever, ever. His plus minus is like minus 50. Like he's that bad. He's
God.
that bad. Like that's what it seems like. It's just it makes zero sense. And like all these guys, Jasper Johnson this year, his plus minus is horrible. Like the guys that every time they go into the game, we're like, oh shit, he's in.
Yep.
You know, Noah plus minus is horrible. You know, and the only guy that like has a okay plus minus, but has been doing great for us is Chandler. His plus minus is like just slightly positive, but like
Where would
you
we
got
be without Chandler?
I don't know. I don't know.
Where would we be without Chandler? Me and my mom had this discussion. Where would we be without him?
We'd probably have at least 3 more losses,
Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely. If not more.
Mhm. Yep.
We would
Yep.
not be going to the tournament. That wouldn't even be a conversation of, okay, we got to at least win one or two more. We wouldn't even be having that conversation, I don't think,
No.
at all.
No.
The
Nope,
dude
not at all.
hustles. He's the only hustler on the team, I feel like. Oway gets his 20 points. Yeah.
And he
But
turns it down. He turns it down a notch.
yes,
I don't
yes,
understand it.
he gets his points and he just, man, like that's what I feel like he does in his head. He's like, 21, 22, yeah, all right, man,
Yep.
and just checks out.
Yep. Yep.
And if God, if we play like that, if we play like that for the rest of, oh my God, we're so screwed. We're so screwed.
I mean, the problem is you
Oh
got
God.
Moreno and Yelovich turning the ball over, and then Owe makes his bonehead mistakes every now and then where he just like it's almost like something shorts out in his head and he just
Yeah.
stops. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand it.
And when he dribbles and turns it over, it's
Yes.
like you're telling me you can't make that dribble move. You know that that ball is about to bounce up. Why do you keep doing it? And he does it over and over and over, like he's like trying to practice to try to get better at it, but he knows that
Yep.
he's not, and he
Yep.
just doesn't care. Just keeps going, and it's like, dude, obviously you don't have the handles like that. Stop. Just
When
stop.
the thing I don't understand too is, you know, we when they were going on their win streak, we were like, "Oh, man, it's great. They don't blow these layups. They don't miss layups." Well, guess what? Guess what they're starting to do again. Guess what's back? Guess what's back now that they're losing? They're missing layups. I don't understand how you miss layups. Like, I understand, all right, every now and then you're gonna blow a
God.
layup, but like this team has to be the leading blown layup team in the national, like in the whole nation
In
right now. Like
history,
they have to be, yeah, they have to be the leader. It's just,
I would love to see that stat. Actually,
it's brutal, man. Like I noticed it, like it was glaring in the Auburn game, where I was like, man, that's like the 4th or 5th one. You even noticed it in Florida, like the Florida game. But then I was like, all right, well, Florida plays good interior defense. They contest every shot. So I expect them to miss some layups against Florida. But like even against South Carolina, they were missing layups. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what are we
Even
doing?
them 2 games right there, watching those games was horrendous on just watching us shoot. And with the Auburn game, they were horrible too. It was the
Hmm.
worst offensive game I've ever seen between 2 teams. Well, maybe not so much like St. John's and them, but I mean, it was just back and forth, just miss, 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 miss. Oh, okay. Make, miss, miss, miss. It was like, this is a horrible, just all around horrible college basketball game. Just
Yep.
horrible,
Yep.
horrible. And
Yeah,
that's
man.
why that's why you haven't seen us live. To anybody watching, that's why you have not seen us live. To be completely honest, yeah, we was sick and all that, but honestly, if I wasn't sick, I don't know if I'd still go live
The
because
language would not be suitable. The
no,
language would not be suitable.
no, and thank God I got the most worst headache in the history of me having headaches on Tuesday because I was dreading going live the second half. I was, and then the tears started coming out, and I was like, headache, okay, all right, I don't have to do this. I don't
Yeah.
have to do this. Everybody turn off the lights. I'm
Brutal.
laying down. It was God.
I
Oh my
thought for sure
God.
they were gonna lose that game. I really did. I
I
thought
did
for sure
too.
they were gonna lose that game, and I was like, "Oh, here we go. Here we go."
I went to sleep. I went to sleep. I didn't mean to like completely knock out. I meant to wake back up. I went to sleep. I didn't know if we
Yeah.
won or lost until the next morning. And again, that's back to back games that I've went to sleep. I've never, ever, ever, ever back to back games went to sleep. Never. That's where we're at with this year, and that's horrible to say. That's horrible to say. And if we don't pick it up, I won't be excited for SEC tournament, like we already said, and I won't be excited for the NCAA tournament if we are even there.
Yeah, it's gonna be nasty, man. It's gonna be nasty. I think they'll get there. But again, like it's gotta something's gotta change because it's not looking good, and I think they can get to a good spot with this Saturday game against Vandy. I'm happy that it's not an 8 o'clock game.
Yes,
To be perfectly honest, like I'm tired
I'm
of
getting
these
old.
prime time 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock
Yeah,
games. Like, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I'm good with those on a Saturday. You
absolutely.
know, even the 6:30 ones aren't that bad when they're on Saturday. But Christ, man, 9 o'clock the other game. I was like, Jesus,
That's
I can't.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like
I'm
that
laying in
shouldn't even
bed
be
for that.
allowed. Yeah, that
I
shouldn't
know.
even be allowed. Honestly, I mean, who does that? Who, knowing that most of the people that watch this are working class people. And you're gonna you know what I mean? And you're gonna put it at 9 o'clock at night, knowing that the game probably won't end till at least 11, at least, and God forbid an overtime, and God forbid 2 overtimes.
Yeah.
You're looking at a 1 o'clock going to sleep when you gotta wake up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, to go to work.
Well, and your adrenaline's so high from the overtime, especially if they win, and
Yeah,
even worse if they lose, because then you don't want to sleep anyway, because you can't sleep because you're pissed off.
yep. That's on you, Mitch the bitch, I think. I don't know. Maybe that's not on him. I don't know, but it seemed like a good segue to blame it on him, and it seems like an easy target to blame on, so
Yeah, no, it is. It's all Mitch's fault. And until he gets out of there, I'm not going to be happy. And I think we're all in the same boat with
absolutely.
the way the Stoops thing ended in football, and then with the way the Cal thing ended, and now Pope and like the $22 million. Like, you can throw a whole bunch of things at why everything points to Mitch. JMI deal, like just everything points to him as being the culprit here. And like, yeah, you can put a feather in your cap with like the women's volleyball team, even the women's basketball team, like with the
Yeah.
way that they're doing, like it's great. Don't get me wrong, but like where the bread is buttered, and it's buttered with the men's basketball team. Everybody knows that Kentucky is a men's basketball team. It's always been that way. We're not we're not talking bad about any of the other sports. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And if you're
It's the best known thing ever. If you
right,
think of Kentucky, you think of Kentucky men's basketball. It
right.
is what it is.
It's the winningest program in college basketball history for a reason.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
it
but when
is
you're
what it
throwing
is.
$22 million of your NIL money as a university towards your men's basketball team, you expect greatness. You expect wins. You expect championships. and they're not performing at that level. So something's got to change. It's not like they're winning national championships in every other sport except basketball. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
So the
And you
athletic
know
director
what?
is usually on the hot seat for that.
I know it won't ever happen, but it'd be great to see him leave after this season. I know it won't happen, and I know it won't happen until his contract's up. And another good thing is, if our special guest comes through for next week, I can't wait to get his opinion on the JMI deal. Now that we're
Mm,
talking about this, you got me and you have to ask him about it because I think he would have a different insight, as in an insider's insight in a way, be able to give us a view that way. Yeah, I think everybody's sick of it, and I'm pretty sure that show, the main guys are sick of it because I know I've heard
mm,
them talk out against it before. So hopefully, yeah, I think that'll actually be a lock that one in up there as we're
yep,
talking about it. I was thinking, I
yep,
was like, oh my god, that'll be a good conversation piece because
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, look, like I said, 10 years from now, it might prove that it was ahead of its time and it was a good thing. But for the next 10 years, we're going to be in hell, and it already looks
yeah,
like we're there. So
lose
it's
the top spot on the wins,
yep. Which
everything.
I'm gonna hate that. I'm gonna hate
Yeah,
that. You know.
that's gonna be rough, especially to Kansas. Seeing what he's letting his players do to him at this point. He's just a dude that just calls a couple plays at this point, it seems like, after we talked about the Stokes and after we talked about the Peterson. He's just saying, hey, I'm here, like I'm at the end of the bench. If y'all need me, I'm here. If y'all have any questions about what to do, where the bathroom is, I know where it's at. Just come
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
me. Otherwise, I'll walk up and down the sideline and act or, yeah, act like I know what I'm doing with you guys when I really don't. That's what it
Punchable
looks like.
face. Bill
Yeah.
Self has a punchable face. One of the most
Yes.
punchable faces in all of college basketball.
And Peterson's going right there beside him now, just the way that he is. Really, honestly, this whole freshman class, if you look at it, just the what they have done to college basketball in a standpoint of sportsmanship and the NIL and the attitude and just all over. They have really hurt the image, now that I think about it, of college basketball.
Yeah. The only one that like seems like he's I don't want to say like a high integrity guy, but it seems like AJ or
Yes.
BYU seems like he's solid. It seems like
Yeah.
he's solid when it comes to that stuff. But like everybody else, I'm not wild. And maybe Boozer at Duke because he has the pedigree, just because his dad. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but the rest of these guys, I'm with you, man. Like, I don't know, I don't know what they're doing. Like, they just come in with a sense of arrogance that is just,
Yes.
you know, I've
That's the
never
word I
seen
was looking
before.
for. Yes, arrogance. They just came in like they owned it,
Yep,
like they were owed it, you know?
yep,
And it's like you haven't earned shit. And you still ain't earned shit throughout the season.
nope.
And like you said though, I agree. Maybe Boozer, maybe DiBiase, whatever. Ted DiBiase, whatever his name is.
I love it. I love it. I've said it before too. I'm like AJ, Ted DiBiase, $1 million Man. You know, well, and that's the sad part is though, like all these freshmen coming in, they are arrogant and they are entitled pricks because they're all getting paid millions of dollars now.
Yeah.
So like you're a 5-star recruit in high school and like you're already getting treated like you're a celebrity and everything else. And now when you go to college, you're getting paid millions of dollars. You are an entitled prick because you've been treated like they allow
Yep.
you to be an entitled prick,
Yep.
and that's just
And the
it's
parents don't
crazy.
help, I don't think either.
No, because they want the money too.
Yep. That's exactly it. They're gonna eat it up. They're gonna eat it up. Yeah, go do that autograph sign. Yeah, look, my kid. Da, 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 da. You got to have some humbleness, or you're gonna get very humbled when you get to the league.
Yep.
And maybe that's
Quick.
what needs to start happening whenever this freshman class get to the league. These guys just put it on them and just make them look stupid, and maybe that helps the next class to make them be like, "Oh shit, we're not that guy. We are not him."
I'll tell you the way I'd fix it. I'll tell you, and then we can land this plane quick. But how I would fix it, college football has a 3-year rule where you can't declare for the draft until you're a junior, until after your junior season. I think you do the same thing in college basketball. Do the exact same thing in college basketball because these entitled freshmen are going into college basketball knowing I'm going to play in the NBA in 8 months anyways. They're not even like I brought this up the other day, and let me get your take. Right, so since the NIL became such a big thing in college sports, when was the last time you heard of an athlete being ruled ineligible because of academics?
Right.
You don't, because they're not student athletes anymore. They're just athletes. Nobody
You're
cares
right.
about the student part anymore. Nobody
Holy
cares,
shit, you're right.
right? Nobody cares
What?
anymore. When Carson Beck went to Miami and he graduated 3 years ago from Georgia, and that this is his job, right? His job is being the quarterback at Miami. That's his job. Like that's when you know we've thrown student of athlete, like student athlete, that student part's completely thrown out. We're just paying these guys, and that's all that matters. They don't get ruled academically ineligible anymore. You don't
There
hear
is
about
no
it for the major
academics.
sports. You might
No.
hear about it on like, I don't know, men's swimming, but you don't hear about it in any other sport. You don't hear about it in basketball or football. It's
No,
crazy.
because they don't give a shit about education no more. And
Right.
there's those select few that do, but as a school,
You
no,
can't tell me
you're right.
JQ's going to goddamn class. He ain't
No,
going to class.
no.
There's no way.
He ain't
Absolutely
playing
no way.
basketball. You think he's really going? No way. No
No,
way. No way.
not a
No,
chance in hell. Not a
no,
chance in
you're
hell.
absolutely right. Now that you said, wow, yeah. Well, I couldn't even tell you who would be the last. I mean, before and yeah, I don't know.
You would always hear it every now and then where they're like they were ruled academically ineligible, so they're
Yeah,
they're sitting out this season or whatever like that. But like you don't hear
Cantor
any of that no more. Yeah, you don't hear any of that no more.
just went down the wrong hole, man. And I don't know if there's any coming back and saving college sports at this point. I think the college sports that we grew to love and grew up watching, and I think that's gone. Maybe it'll come back one day when this gets leveled out and people understand it and there's rules and God, maybe.
That's the thing. You need the rules. Yep, you need rules around it. Any good business like process, you need to have rules around it to prevent people from taking advantage of it. Like that's the whole reason rules are in place is to prevent people from taking advantage. Yes, they're going to bend the rules, but as long as they bend the rules legally without breaking the rules, it is what it is, right? Everybody's going to find a
That's
couple loopholes here and there, but like this is just the Wild West where people are just making it up as they go, and the NCAA can't do anything about it. They can't do anything about it.
and every time they try to do something, they get I mean, honestly, if they'll get if they try to stop somebody, as bad as this sounds, they're gonna get called racist or they'll get called biased or they get called maybe not biased ain't the word maybe, but they'll get called that, oh well they just don't like that school. They're fans of this school or whatever the case may be. So it's like they can't even try to do anything because the backlash from media at this point and social media and social media.
Yep. I never understood why college basketball was different than college football from that regard anyway, right? So like
Yeah, me neither.
you got guys in college football right now that are suing the NCAA for a 6th year of eligibility. You imagine that in college basketball? Right?
Oh my God.
You imagine like we had John Wall for 4 seasons and then he was like, "Well, I had to sit out my freshman year for, like technically I medically redshirted, so I want my 5th year of eligibility." We had John Wall for 4.5 years. Like, you imagine that? Like,
Oh my God.
and we got guys that are coming into college basketball at 17 technically when they graduate high school, and then they're going to the NBA before they turn 19. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
At this point, why did you ever take the rule away of them going straight from high school?
Exactly.
Why?
Yep. Yep.
There's no point. There is no point of even taking that rule away unless you put guidelines 2 or 3 years minimum. And I've said that from John Wall days. And it could be in because I miss, I always wanted them to stay longer than 1 year at Kentucky. Kentucky problems. You always wanted the number one draft picks to
Sure.
stay a little longer. But, not nowadays. But yeah, At least 2 years. At least 2 years. Make it at least 2. Good lord. You don't even have to go the full 3. Just make it 2. At least get what is that? A batch or an associate's degree? Make them get at least an associate's degree. You
Yeah,
know,
but then
you pre
then they would have to enforce the academic part and, the
exactly.
student part of it, and it's just I don't know, man. Like, I honestly think that that would fix a lot of it, and it would create loyalty. Like, you wouldn't have so many people
Absolutely.
jumping into the transfer portal after their freshman year because they know they have to stay 2 years anyway. So, you know, like these guys, and you look, Kentucky's guilty of it because they have a lot of guys in the last couple of years the same way. But like these guys that have played for 4 different schools in 4 different years, like that shouldn't be allowed.
No.
It
Where
shouldn't
was
be
the rule
allowed.
at that you had to sit out a year if and I'm pretty sure Cal just went on a rant not too long ago. I think we talked about it. That
Yeah.
if you transfer, you had to sit out a year. Where's
Hmm.
that rule at now?
Yep.
Because after they took that away, Wild West, just wide open. You go wherever you want and however many times you want. Hell with it. You'll find something sometime.
Yeah. Well, and
It's
that's what
ridiculous.
I think that's what they need to limit. They need to limit how many times you can
Yes.
transfer. So like if you're and do it as like a multiplier of how many years you've been in college. So if you're a junior, you can still transfer twice. But if you're only a sophomore, you can transfer once, freshman once, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
your years in college minus how many times you've already transferred, do some type of formula that way. Like there's people smarter than us that can figure this out. But like
Absolutely.
if we're throwing this out there, and honestly, I don't think our ideas are that far off. I think they're the starting point for it. People can take them and run with them, but like they got to do something. And I think everybody realizes the system as it stands right now is broken, and it's not going to get any better. And I think as Kentucky fans, we're sitting here frustrated because we have the money, we have the resources, we have the history, we have everything ready to go, and we can't figure it out.
Yep.
There's no
We
reason
have
why we shouldn't be able to figure it out.
no, we have everything that anybody would ever want from a GM all the way down to a water boy.
Mhm.
I mean, really, we can't, yeah, we're horrible. We're horrible. We're horrible. God, that sucks so bad to say.
Well, listen,
Oh my
we
God.
got a game Saturday. Let's
Got a game
hopefully pull out a
Saturday.
win. Let's hopefully pull out a win.
I will not have an excuse. I will be live Saturday. I will be live Saturday. I don't care if I'm shitting and puking on myself. I will be live. I promise. I will be live. Promise.
Tune in just to see that. Tune in just to see if he does that. You know? You got to. You got
Could
to.
you imagine? You tune in, you're like, all right, hell yeah, State of Kentucky Port's live. And it just cuts to me and I'm in my bed. Oh my God. I think I'm
Probably going to be
dying.
more exciting than the game. Hopefully not, but maybe it will be. Maybe it will be, man.
God, on that note, I think it's time to sign off. Oh God. All right.
Love
Here
it.
we go.
Well, listen, go Cats. Go
Go
Cats.
Cats.
Go Cats.
We will see you Saturday. Beat Vandy. You know, this team doesn't even deserve like a cool sign off. So just beat Vandy. We'll see you Saturday. Be there, be square. And if you're not there, your mom's a Loserville fan. See you
There
Saturday.
it is. There it is. Love it.